Hi, I just wanted to make a quick supplementary video to bring you up to date on a few things that have changed since I made or completed the quartet of videos on die cutting. I've had feedback from various people and some recommendations on how I can improve things, so I thought I'd share those with you. First of all, from a safety perspective, people have said that spray adhesive can be particularly hazardous. You may remember I talked about making sure you were in a well ventilated room, and I was wearing a dust mask as well. On reflection, I think that's probably inadequate, so I've invested in a piece of personal protective equipment in the form of a properly filtered mask. So this is for use if you're working with chemicals or paint or whatever. So this should be far more appropriate, keep you safer. A mask like this will cost you around £20 from Amazon, so not a huge investment and probably worth making. What else has been suggested? Well, a couple of people who are experienced die cutters were surprised that I was having to make as many cuts as I did, and that the resistance of the lever as I was pulling it was as light as it was. They've suggested shimming up the press. If you get one of these Edison presses, it comes with shims that you can use. So shim it up to get a nice tight fit of the die in the press. So I've done that. I've got the maximum shims in at the moment, plus I've added a piece of card on top of the die. So this is placed on top, that's your cutting face. This piece of card really make sure I've got a really tight snug fit. And now when I do my cutting, I have to admit, the pressure I have to exert is a lot higher, but I can do complete the cut in a couple of cuts. I tend to put the die in one side of the press and cut, and then I'll move it to the other side of the press and cut again, and those two cuts now are sufficient to get a complete cut all the way through the card. So that was another bit of useful advice I've received. Finally, when I applied the sheets of counters to the card with the spray adhesive, I was then smoothing it down with a soft cloth. Still do that, but it has been suggested that I put some heavy weights on the counters and leave them overnight to really make sure that adhesion is good. What I've actually chosen to do is take that one step further, and I've got myself a flower press. Now, obviously, if you take this approach, you need to make sure it's large enough to accommodate a full sheet of counters. I also have 6 bolts to make sure I get optimum pressure all around. This is homemade. You can buy them for about the same price as it costs to make them, which is around about £15. If you do get one, make sure it's big enough to accommodate your counters, and I would suggest you go for one with six bolts. And you simply loosen the wing nut, open up your press, and then slide in your counters, tighten the wing nuts down nice and evenly, and leave that for a few hours, ideally overnight, and you should get even better adhesion. So that's it. Safety with a mask, shimming of the die for to make it as tight as possible in the press, and a flower press to get really good adhesion. So that's it. As I get more hints and tips off people or develop techniques myself, I'll continue to share those with you. So if you found this useful, please like it and consider subscribing to the series of videos as well. Okay, thanks very much. Bye.